Hey, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Patriot Nation TV. I'm your host, Tim Davis, aka Professor X, your new age patriot with a 1776 attitude. It's one man, one opinion, trying to make sense of it all. It is Thursday, June 2nd, 2022. So please, thanks for tuning in. Give a thumbs up, hit like, hit subscribe, notification bell. Appreciate it. So, I guess I wasn't preparing to do a video today, but I guess I'm going to have to, because I'm seeing all over social media now, media, regular media on TV from last night, today, just the buffoonery that's being discussed. So, I guess I'll get to it this way. I mean, there's really no way to start it off, right? I guess yesterday in Oklahoma, there was another mass shooting. Took place at a hospital. And like clockwork, politicians come out, gun grabbers come out, parroting the same narrative. Gun control this, gun control that, yada, yada, yada. And so I'm going to make the case of exposing the buffoonery, how to deal with these intellectual idiots, liberals, whatever you want to call them, because they're parroting the same narrative for years. They make no sense, and somehow they always try to they're very good at it. They're very good at manipulating a conversation and twisting it and putting the person on defense a lot. That's what with the help of the media, that's what these liberals can do. That's why the rhinos have no backbone. They always make everybody go on a defense. I always use the same kind of tactic. Answer their question with their question. So anyway, just get into it. Like I said, it's June 2nd, 2022. This is the 22nd week of 2022 in this year in America. And in 22 weeks, America has already seen 215 mass shootings. 215 mass shootings. That's a lot, right? That's what you say. Let me see something. As a matter of fact, just from Memorial Weekend, I'm going to go from May 28th, 2022. We'll start from there. From May 20th, today's only June 2nd, right? So from May 28th, 2022, we've had approximately 16 mass shootings. The most recent one yesterday. All right? That's what we had. Let me show what I'm looking at. I'm looking at this chart. This is the mass shootings. I mean, you can look this up. This is all on government sites and stuff. This is 16 shootings. Start, the recent one, June 1st, going all the way down to the 20th of May, right? And all we get is the same nonsense. Gun control, act now. Nobody needs to own semi-automatic AR. Nobody needs to own 20-30 round magazine. Common sense gun laws. I did a video. I've done plenty of videos on it. We already have common sense gun laws, 20,000 amount of books. But here's the deal. They try to make, they reverse it on the gun owners, the law-abiding citizens. They tell us that we need to compromise, stuff like that. Try to make us feel guilty. Constitutionalists, Second Amendment guys, law-abiding citizens. They try to make us feel guilty, and then news media parrots it and just throws it down everybody's throats. Then the citizens, the individual, parrots what they heard because they want to be part of the in crowd, I guess, right? I don't know. But here's the thing. They want us gun owners to compromise. It's ridiculous. It's stupid. It's silly. Just to give a quick list that you can look up yourself. In 1934, we had the National Firearms Act. 1968, we had the Gun Control Act. 86, we had the Firearm Owners Protection Act. 1993, we had the Brady Handgun Violence Act. 94, we had an assault weapons ban. 95, we had a gun-free school zone. All right? That's 6. Just on the federal, I mean, there's more, but that's just 6 simple ones you can look up. Not including states. I mean, there's over 20,000 of them. And you still want me to, and none of these laws would prevent what's happening. None of them. There's nothing you can come up with to prevent this from happening. There are solutions, though, like exercising your Second Amendment the way it was intended by the founders. So as a gun owner, I say this, we have compromised enough. We did. No more infringements. That's what it is. Gun laws are infringements. That's the bottom line. And what we are seeing, we are not seeing reasons for gun control. Like, I know the media is putting this narrative out there, they're just making you think this thing. And these fork-tongued politicians who really don't care about you. They don't care anything about you or your kids. That's proven time and time again. We're not seeing reasons for gun control. What we are actually seeing are reasons to carry. And why we need a national carry, open carry if you want, nationwide, just like a driver's license. We're seeing reasons for that, not reasons for gun control. Because the laws aren't working. They're not working. Because you can't legislate evil. Just can't do it. So let me explain it a little bit better for those, not for those who don't know or they think they know. The purpose of the United States Constitution and the Bill of Rights is to limit the power of the federal government, not the American people. It's not. And the Second Amendment does not grant us the right to bear arms. It doesn't. I know you hear people say, both, one side's arguing, oh, it's our right, it's our right. No. The Second Amendment does not grant us rights to bear arms. The Second Amendment denies the government the authority to infringe upon our rights to bear arms. That's what it is. That's what the Second Amendment is. And for those who don't know the Second Amendment, or they think only superheroes in black robes are the ones who can interpret what our founding fathers thought of it, or a bunch of terrorists in suits and capitals, they're the ones who can make laws because they're smarter than us. It's really simple. The Constitution is written for like a 4th grade reading level. It really has been. So the Second Amendment states this: a well-regulated militia, being necessary to secure the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Simple. I don't need a judge, Supreme Court to interpret that for me. All I got to do is just read the writings of the Founding Fathers and what they said, what they thought, and how they came up with the Second Amendment, how they came to an agreement of the Second Amendment. So let's break it down. Let's break the Second Amendment down. A well-regulated militia. According to the founders, a militia, when properly formed, are in fact the people themselves whose ability to act in both personal and common defense must be well maintained, being necessary to the security of a free state. Right? Founding fathers thought like this when they came to it. Secure and personal liberty, the state of being free, and the governance of people, the state securing the rights of a free people. The right of the people, the whole people, an individual right, independent of government. Now we had a hella case. We know it just goes on. To keep and bear arms. What it means is to own and carry arms in whatever type necessary to effectively provide for personal defense and defense against tyranny. shall not be infringed, shall not be limited, regulated, federally, excessively taxed, or encroached upon in any manner. That's it. So you hear that the left, that's the Second Amendment, simple. You hear the people on the left, you don't need 30 round magazines to kill a deer or hunt a deer. You don't need this, you don't need that. Maybe I don't need it, but you don't need to tell me what I need, because that's what I'm guaranteed. Right? I don't think you need to have Porsches, Corvettes, Lamborghinis. National speed limit's what, 65 nationwide? If you put on an average, 65. These cars do 200 miles an hour. I don't think you need an SUV. Right? Why do I need more than one firearm? Or why do you need more than two cars? Right? If I can't, how many firearms do you need? How many firearms can you shoot at one time? Well, how many cars can you drive at one time? See the buffoonery? You gotta use their buffoonery against them. So this is for those who do not understand the meaning of rights. We need to make it clear. We need to make it clear once and for all. The Second Amendment does not apply to semi-automatic rifles, nor does it apply to bolt-action rifles, pistols, or revolvers. The Second Amendment restricts government. It restricts government. The technology of the firearm is irrelevant. It doesn't matter. The restrictions on government remain the same, regardless of the firearm. The Second Amendment was not written to grant permission for citizens to own and bear arms, to receive permits. That's not what it was written for. It forbids government interference in the right to keep and bear arms, period. The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. This also applies to other rights. They are not granted. They stipulate inherent rights from God that government may not prohibit. That's it. Simple. You don't need a classroom. You don't need supreme justices or judges or characters in robes telling you what it means. It's there for you to, it's there. It's in plain English. It's not about, that's what I'm saying. You hear these guys saying, you don't need this for hunting or skeet shooting. It's none of your business. Bottom line. Either Congress, senators, you do your job bound by the Constitution and repeal the Second Amendment. See what happens. Or stop playing politics on lives that were lost. And just allow the people, the law-abiding people, to exercise their God-given right, which is guaranteed and protected through the Second Amendment in the Constitution. It's really that simple. So that's one of the reasons that we should just follow the Second Amendment. That's common sense. And the things that we have learned a lesson. So we really don't know too much about what happened yesterday. At least I don't yet, in Tulsa, Oklahoma. But we have learned a lesson from the horrific tragedy in Texas. What have we learned from that? We learned that government will mandate that your children be vulnerable, hold you back at gunpoint while they are murdered, and try to lie about it. And then they tell you this is all happening because you own a firearm. They're trying to they reverse it and manipulate it, and people are falling for it because you see it. You see it when you debate people. And the shocking thing of it. I mean, you can't deny it. It's the same thing that happened in Parkland, Florida, a few years back. The shocking thing was the excuse that the police officer gave that was on Wolf Blitzer for like a week ago. They said that they waited so long to enter because they could get shot. police have no obligation to protect you or your family. Supreme Court ruled on it. And that brings me to the Parkland case, right? That sheriff that was outside during the whole time, he was hiding and everything. He got brought up on charges, went to court, got thrown out, obviously for the Thin Blue Line gang, but they got thrown out. And the reason they got thrown out, or he was found, whatever, I forget how it went, but they got thrown out on the grounds that Supreme Court ruled that police officers have no obligation to protect you. If they do it, that's on their own, and they're honorable men and women. But they really have no obligation to protect you. So just clear that up. Don't fool yourself and think that police are here to protect you, because they're not. We're going to get into that a little bit further, too, towards the end of this. So basically is this. There is no plan to fix anything. There's not. They have no plan. They know there's only one of two things they can do. That's it. It's been that way since 1791. It's only one. Repeal it or allow it. That's it. There is no plan to fix anything because the plan was and is to destroy everything. And to destroy everything, you gotta start with the individual. You gotta strip the individual of their rights, of their liberty. And that's just a fact. Government does not care. They don't care. And one way or another, they're gonna come for them. Don't think they're not. They are. But this is what gets me. So, so that's why we need a second to carry, just for our own protection. I live in New Yorkistan, so, and shootings in subways and stuff like that. It's just crazy. So I should have the right. I mean, I can have the right to in the state where I live to have one, but I can't carry what I have a permit for in New York City where I work. Makes no sense. Makes no sense. But I could get stabbed, shot, whatever. But I can't defend myself. Makes no sense. But this is the kicker of it all. Gun control, right? So I have to go to the leader. We got to go to the king, the village idiot, right? The village idiot who's in charge right now, Joseph Biden. Joseph Biden is this is a man who has told us numerous times, back into the 90s when I was in my 20s, early 20s. This is a man who's been parroting this narrative for a very, very long time. He'll tell you, he'll sit there and says, guns should not be in the hands of the mentally unstable. Right? Sounds good, right? Good talking point. Guns should not be in the hands of the mentally stable. And I agree with that. But this is the thing. This is a man that's telling me that guns do not belong in the hands of a mentally unstable. He is a senile. This is a senile man who has his hands on the nuclear weapons. On the brink of causing World War III. This guy, Joseph Biden, think about it. Joseph Biden has been protected by assault weapons his entire life. Right? Was he 80? Got in politics in his 20s? Well, I should say my entire life. He's been in politics as long as I've been alive. I was entering kindergarten when he first got elected. Right? Something like that. Or I was going into kindergarten, whatever it is. He's been protected by assault weapons his whole life. Now that he's the king, the Dandada, he's armed the FBI agents and the Department of Justice where they can monitor angry parents at school boards. He armed local police officers with the governors and everybody else, mayors, can be present during school board meetings to quickly arrest an angry parent at gunpoint. But yet at the same time, schools can't have armed protection for students during hours. Why is that? I don't know. Well, I do know, but because they don't care. They don't care. It's about their power. Strip you of your right to defend yourself. It's easier to board people on a plane or on ships who are unarmed. I mean, there's a movie. I watch plenty of movies and documentaries, but I see, the latest movie I saw where only policemen and military had guns was a movie called Schindler's List. Check it out if you haven't. You find out real quick what it's like. My point is this. Our government, your government, is corrupt to the core. Every aspect of it. I mean, we just seen it with Hillary Clinton's lawyer getting off, buffoonery. I mean, we just see it over and over and over. Your government, my government, is corrupt. They're backed up by our banks, and our banks are holding you as collateral. We're struggling. They're holding you as collateral. And they're co-conspirators. The media sells you propaganda and lies. It's been proven over and over. Our wars, your wars, are all about greed, resources, and control. And why can't you see it? Why don't you see it? The Ukrainian, come on, they lost 2 months ago. I did a video 2 months ago. Now they're coming out, it's decimated. It's a joke. Why all this is going on, Hillary Clinton's lawyer gets off. We're filled up with Johnny Depp and Heard. At the same time, a couple weeks, a month or so, last year or a few months ago, Maxwell, Epstein's partner, she gets found guilty, but the 80, child porn, sex trafficking, and stuff like that. But the list of clients just disappeared, right? I mean, how come none of the clients? But don't worry, Amber Heard crapped on Johnny Depp's bed. That's more important. And the reason I say it like that, I don't want to say it like that. It's just the buffoonery that I get from these idiots that I get in conversations with, and I try to be nice. I try to not get into it. And they just come across, they want to call you ignorant, uneducated, a Trumper, white supremacist, militia man. They go on and on and on. So when I'm having these checks, they sit there and tell me, we need common sense gun laws and stuff like that. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, well, think of one. Tell me one that you can think of. Because me personally, I believe that all gun laws are infringements. I do. So they are, according to law. I mean, if you really went by law, that's exactly what they are. So, obviously they try to come up with this and that and this and that, and you hit them up like there's 20,000 gun laws on the books. What can you tell me that can come on there that can change, can change the outcomes of the crimes and stuff? Pardon me, guys. Then they'll have the audacity to say to well, background checks. We need comprehensive background. So we have background checks. Like, yeah, but background checks, it's still a violation. They're like, oh, no. Background checks don't violate your second. They try to get slick with you. Background checks don't violate your Second Amendment. Right? That's what they tell you. And I'm like, yeah, true, you're right. But it doesn't violate my Second Amendment. Background checks violate my Fourth Amendment. And my HIPAA law. But I understand background checks. I'm not going to say I don't want to compromise and say, yes, you need background checks. But don't use that stupidity of background checks don't violate the Second Amendment, because they don't violate the Second Amendment. They violate my Fourth Amendment and my HIPAA law. Right? But they don't want to hear that. Then they get stuck getting a little angry on you. And then when they're debating you, the letters get bigger and capital letters. They wonder what the police should only have, it military should only have these type of weapons. I don't need this stuff. I'm like, they go on and on and on. And they're like, you really going to wage war against the government if you really think it's tyranny? I'm like, I'm not waging war against anybody. I'm just sitting there saying I have the right to protect myself just in case our government gets dictatorial and decides to go full force tyranny. And the way things are going, we've been heading down that road for a very long time, and we're knocking at the door of it. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but it almost appears inevitable. But anyway, getting back to it, they're typing away and this and that, saying, oh, you're just a radical, you're a militiaman, you're a Confederate. I'm born and raised in the North. Stuff like that. And then and they always, like the left always goes to the extremes. Like even with the abortion thing, rape, incest, it's like 0.11% of it. Anyway, they go to the extremes and they sit there and say, oh, you're anti-cop. I'm not anti-cop. I'm anti-corruption. I believe we need cops. But I think cops need to be re-schooled, re-educated in what their duties are, because their duties have been stripped away from them from what their original intent was, right? That's when law becomes perverted. Look it up, Frederick Bastiat, the law. Frederick Bastiat, Bastiat. The law. Check it out. Explains everything about the perverted law. So they end up telling you, or they say to you, well, you sound, extreme, like a radical. You sound dangerous. Why are you willing to kill a cop for a 20 or 30 round magazine? You see, see how slick they are? Why are you willing to kill a cop for a 30 round or a 20 round magazine? They twist it on you, where you got to defend yourself. And you got to be careful of it, because the way everything is, everything's worded, they can look at, domestic terrorist, this and that. But it's wordplay. It's double speak, wordplay. So when they say that, when somebody like that says something like that to me, I just pause. I look at him like, give the Tim Davis eyes, like, really? And then I go and I say to him, I'm like, why? You ask me, why am I willing to kill a cop for a 30-round magazine? And I say I'm not. But I ask them this: why is a cop willing to die for my 30 or 20-round magazine? Don't ask me why I'm willing to do this, because I'm telling you I'm not willing to do that. I don't want to do that. I have no intention of doing that. But instead of asking me why am I willing to do something like that, you need to ask yourself, why is a cop willing to die for my 20 or 30 round magazine? Simple. They're not going anywhere. I'm not using it in any crimes. Then it goes on and on. It goes back and forth. I'm sure you all seen it. You all participated in it. Then they say, the police exist to protect us. The police are here to protect us. And I'm like, you know what? You're wrong again. The police exist to protect the criminals from us. If they actually follow the law and the Constitution, the oath that they swore to. They're not here to protect me. They're here to protect the criminals from people like me or you or anybody else, right? And then they're like, oh, you're crazy. You've seen it. I'm sure you all seen it in your own conversation. Oh, you're crazy. You're a conspiracy theorist. And then they go back a few years and they tell you, oh, so did they lock up all Epstein's co-conspirators? No, not yet. Only one's been charged and been convicted. But I will say this: they didn't lock up all his conspirators and all the participants in the sex trafficking and stuff like that, all high politicians and princes and czars, whatever you want to call them. No, they didn't lock them guys up. But they did lock everyone else up for almost 2 years during COVID when the Epstein thing was taking place. Like they didn't actually lock up the players of it. They locked up the law-abiding individual citizen globally, because it was a global thing with Jeffrey Epstein, And then they're like, oh, you're a radical. It's over and over. You're a radical. Yeah, you're a fascist. You're this. You're a Trumpster. You're this. You're that. You're a Trumpster. Fascist Trumpster. And then you got to pause. Like, you got to listen to what these people say to you or what they write to you. You got to pause a little bit. You got to say, Trump is a fascist? Yeah, he's a fascist. So are you. You're a nationalist. Yeah. And I'm like, okay. Oh, really? So Trump's a fascist and I'm a fascist. Okay. Oh, really? Okay. Then I say to him, when was the last time a fascist lowered taxes, deregulated industry, and wanted an armed populace? Then you see you just see it, they're typing in the change of tone that they're debating you. But I don't know. The bottom line is the Second Amendment, the right to keep and bear arms, is not intended for skeet shooting, collecting, hunting. Those are parts of it, of the benefits of having that Second Amendment. But ultimately, the Second Amendment is to give the individual the right to defend themselves against all terrorists, foreign and domestic, including government, if they get too tyrannical. As much as that sucks to say and may hurt people's feelings, that's the reality of it. So I'm going to try to end this up. I'm going on almost 30 minutes. So let me say this. A society whose citizens refuse to see and investigate the facts, who refuse to believe that their government and their media will routinely lie to them and fabricate a reality contrary to verifiable facts, is a society that chooses and deserves the police state dictatorship it's going to get. And it's knocking on the door, folks. It's knocking on the door. You know, you go back to the Jeffrey Epstein thing, you know what? Just recently, Nancy Pelosi's husband, it's just amazing, the double standard. I'm going to end this. So I'm just ending it like this. People want to talk about Jeffrey Epstein, this and that. Yeah. All those boxes of evidence that the FBI took out of Lolita Island, all those secret recordings and videos, all those flight logs, what happened to them all? Hell, we can't even get Paul Pelosi's mugshot, which just a couple of days ago, Freedom of Information Act, the FOIA. We can't even get his mugshot, which is supposed to be public record, or the video of the body cam, of the cams from the arrest. Jeez, I wonder how these things just disappear. I don't know, folks. I really don't know, but just don't fall for the buffoonery. Like I said, if you want to argue with these people, I'm not going to argue with these people no more. I'm going to try not to do any more Second Amendment videos or anything. It's just enough's enough. You can't deal with these people. And I'm just going to end it with this basically, and it sucks to say, but if justice doesn't perform its responsibility to the public, then it will eventually lead to a vigilante-style justice. Because in a free society, justice will eventually prevail. At some point, people will only bow down to a certain amount. And as the laws of physics tells you, for every action, there will be an equal and opposite reaction. The pendulum always swings back and forth. It always swings back with equal force in the opposite direction to further its, back to the opposite direction. The further it's pushed or pulled in one direction, it will go back the opposite way, the same amount. And that's just a fact. So that's just a little rant I had to do. I'm just getting sick of it. I'm getting sick of everything that I'm hearing. And my fellow Americans are just falling for the buffoonery. Anyway, hope you enjoyed the show. Like I said, please give it a thumbs up, hit subscribe, hit the notification bell if you're new to it. So I'm going to sign out. I'm Tim Davis, a.k.a. Professor X from Patriot Nation TV. God bless you. I will talk to you soon. Bye-bye.